find a way to connect to the Pro League by taking screen caps of our matches for the day, circle them. Just edit and paint, whatever it has to be, circle them, put your own predictions out there, join in on the conversation. You don't got to just spend your channel points, although we love when you do that. We want you to be smarter than us. It's much better if you're smarter than us at all times, but here we go. First map, Exhibit, Rise versus Noble, and everybody already rushing to their positions, rushing to their spots, and just trying to check it out as we can kind of look over the top and see where both teams are going to be able to take their original stand. Zysho's going to move up and try to have the back of gear. Avexys staying up. I actually like that positioning. He said, look, if they push across to you, I'm going to get 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6, 7 Lancer shots on them before they get there. So your back A should either get it down, maybe even a quick headshot. Now they see Zysho move in after getting his health back, and that's going to force Rise out of position. They're going to have to come out and try to challenge him at that B hill.
Interesting to see there's no real moves being made from Rise so far. They wait for the moment the hill gets captured. Avexys hops over. He gets down early on. Icy trying to go for the revive. The damage seemingly too much. Noble doing a good job of targeting both Icy and Avexys in this scenario. Unfortunately for Gearys, he gets taken out by Rushiez, but that help, that effort might have came a little too late. He gets taken down in the end. 3 members off that initial calling from Rise. We're taken out. The pressure is going to be felt here from the top side of the map from Franchis, and he's going to do the veteran play to try to extend the map, but he's actually going to get caught. This really puts a thorn in the side of anything Rise tries to do. That's going to be a big 1v1 from Franchise. He needs to stay alive. He needs to find a way to regroup with his teammate like you see in Avexys and decap the hill. In the back of their head column, they need to make sure they know that player's going to come out of respawn and have an additional angle.
And they're going to come out and try to use that additional angle to their advantage. Franchise is going to rotate all the way back up, and I like this. Rise has gone to the home-to-home strategy. They're going to try to continue to pressure the people from Noble who come out of respawn, and that's one of the things that you like to see from your veteran leadership, from your big-time, big prime-time players. Franchise continuing to put people on skates has forced Noble to overextend toward the home hill of Rise and take fights with their respawns as well. This is going to get very interesting very quickly, PR.
Zysho going down there is not going to be good, but as long as Reptile can buy the time, this is absolutely perfect, especially since he's on the other side of the map. Unfortunately, he does go down, and then Rise on this side, they have to take advantage of this 4v2, but I do like the way they're already aggressively setting up. Lots of damage being put out from Avexys. They need to get this kill and stay alive. They can't get lost in the sauce trying to go for a triple cap domination because they're already going to come back with 2 uncontested hills. Noble has the pressure on him here to make a move, but now Rise just needs to gather this information, figure out where the players are at, figure out where they're rotating over, and then not overextend their defense, because right now, as it looks, they will somehow gain the lead. So it's going to be up to Noble to try to get this decap.
Noble's going to push up. Reptile trying to get a lot of damage on a Fran. Actually pushes up and tries to get a little bit of angle damage on top of that cover and get the down. This is very ballsy. The double bounce in will help him continue to push forward toward B, but he never got any health back, so he was basically a sit and duck. Avexys with 1 wrap will get some damage onto Lava, but not enough to get the down. Now Lava trying to bait out the cover shot from Franchise, trying to make him work and move forward. The snub comes out for Fran, but it wasn't enough to get the down. Snub still... Fran took that fight with a pistol, but it might have been... No, it wasn't enough. It wasn't in time. 3 minutes and 13 seconds. I do believe Franchise might have ran out of ammo. I can't explain any other reason why he'd be running around with a snub out in that close quarters of a combat fight.
Either that or it's just one of those situations where it's, I either get in the hill with my snub or I take that extra second to switch my shotgun, lose the advantage, lose the round regardless. But I like the effort to come through. And I know when I'm playing ranked, watching these King of the Hills, and my teammate just plays for his KD instead of at least going for the effort. And that just shows Fran in this matchup is giving 100% effort. But Rise, as it stands, Colin, last night and tonight are an 11-round losing streak, 11-0 in round count. Hopefully they're able to pick this one up, win a couple rounds here early, gain some momentum, and let that carry on over, not only for the rest of the day, but going into that mid-split playoffs.
PR, you know what the best thing about a losing streak is?
What?
Has to end sooner or later, right? I mean, sooner or later, you got to get a dub. And I mean, even if it's not the team that gets a dub, somebody getting a dub. One of them players is coming away with a dub in a ranked match later. So your losing streak ends sooner rather than later when it comes to always having to take them L's. And look at the way that Noble is set up, bouncing around. I think they're trying to pressure out players from Rise to try to make the same first move that they made last round, which put them on skates and was allowing Noble to get that early advantage and forcing Franchise to win that fight up top. And it's Lava versus Fran, and I can't tell you how happy it makes me to see two of our most veteran stalwart players, championship players, continuing to trade blows this far into Gears 5, and really putting on a complete display of perfection of the game and mechanics against each other in a 1v1.
And I like the way this is being played right now, too, allowing Rushiez to play down low. And I want to say kind of let loose, because you can see there's not a lot of opportunity to let that happen, but it's kind of like Harbor when those 1v1 players are down low. It's kind of like a chess match, kind of like a glorified staring contest of sorts, to where they're just kind of sitting there making sure nobody gets a flank, making sure that they count if an additional player does come up top, that they know down low to make the move. But if you look at where the players are positioned down low, straight in across in a line across the board, so that way Noble knows when they have to make a move here, they have to take positioning 1 second at a time, and then maybe push forward to try to get that elimination. They're going to go ahead and try to get that hallway first, backtrack. This is where I talked about sooner or later, if they try to keep going in towards the middle, they're going to have to push over. Rise realizes that's going to be the case. They try to take a 2v1 a little early. A player does go down, lots of damage being traded off back and forth. Both players go down. Rise is going to get the first blow here in this exchange, but hopefully this is where I talked about, Colin. They got to use their advantages to get more. They can't slow down and let this momentum go to the wayside.
Reptile doing, oh my god, he comes away with one finally. I was gonna say he's continuing to dance, trying to just put damage across the map. Avexys with a Boltok in hand, gonna try to take some shots at Gears, but right now Rise has crossed the 200-point threshold. That's really gonna put them in a position to just sit back, hang tight, and just force Noble out into every possible bad spot. Lava's even gonna have to push across the top, because they're gonna have to get a triple decap. They're gonna have to be able to pressure the home hill of Rise, and there's a down on the Lava. Fran's gonna let him bleed out. You see them get the decap there at the B hill, but still 3 versus 3, and Rise can basically sit back and wait for these players from Noble to push out into the open and allow Avexys with the Voltok to put down some damage on everybody. But Zeisha's going to answer back with one of his own, but still up top, holding the angle, holding the correct sighting is Rise, and the backs of Fran and Rushiez right there finishing off the last kill. They come away with a round victory. There you go, PR. All bad things must come to an end, right? I don't know. No, it's all good things. Whatever. Look, we're just going to go with it being 1-1, baby.
I mean, this is a start. Just like you said, those losing streaks got to come to an end. I pointed out 11 straight losses for Rise, dating back to last night. So hopefully they can use this as a starting point. And we always talk about historically the franchise teams have a slow start in map number 1. I think that's going to have to come to an end here. His team's going to have to start picking it back up. They did win that round, but it wasn't in a dominating fashion. It wasn't in a slaying fashion like you're typically used to seeing in some of the rounds won here today. In Gears Esports, the way the meta has shifted, as you see Rise kind of sticking true to their strategies, playing the rotations, playing the team game as much as possible. I don't think things are going to stray any differently in this round. You see Reptile immediately trying to press Icy in that 1v1. Just enough help from Avexys. They're going to get first blood.
I see the
sitting back down after Rushiez gets the kill on Gears, because he knows that it's going to put Rebel in a position where they have to make a move now in a 5v4. They can't really allow them to continue to get this positioning. And Zeisha, I mean, beautiful move there onto Avexys. Rushiez will get taken out by Reptile. That's a man you gotta stop betting against. Reptile has really put on an absolute clinic this entire split. He said, I might have been the one to get dropped from the World Champions, but make no mistake about it, I still got a belt around my waist. I'm one of the defending ones as well. And he'd like to come away with back-to-back wins in some majors to prove that his drop wasn't just a mistake, it was the biggest damn mistake. Meanwhile, Noble, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you see that rotation coming through from Rise. Immediately, they send multiple members towards the top half of the map, and that's gonna allow them to stretch out the numbers from Noble. It all depends on what kind of defense Noble has. They have 2 players there. I don't know if they know it's 3v2, but Rushiez maybe get a little ahead of himself. He's gonna go down early. Quick revives coming through. The chain revives are gonna continue as Rise is taking a ton of damage, but there goes the shining light. Rushiez able to get the elimination. So now those hills are gonna change locations. Avexys is not gonna give up on the chase just yet, realizing they have to keep this going. They're not in the right player's spawn, so they have to backtrack, get this neutral, and then they'll worry about their home hill. But Avexys goes down, but Franchis is there to save the day. The neutral is going to change hands, but Noble is already there on each side hallway to try to make some sort of defensive stand.
Avexys though, waiting with the retro, doesn't get the stop on the Gears. He gets the kill. Franchise bouncing around. He's going to try to get it down on the Reptile. He will, but his third down and out comes through. Gears answers with another down and another kill. Icy has to back up. Shots over the cover with an Asher is not going to be enough. And there's the triple gap domination. Ladies and gentlemen, the return of the gong as it sounds to die for the side of Rise here in round number 3. Beautiful job by Noble. And I can't tell you right now, Gary's showed that he has got some massive, just huge movement ability as he goes down the hallway straight at a retro. Just unbelievable how big that is.
Yo, just it courage as well, because you know, a lot of the times when you see players getting shot like that, they're trying to look for some sort of escape route, but he knew that they was just too far away to try to turn around and run. He would have gotten down. So just to kind of know that, to know the situation you're in, and then realize it, not only realize it, Colin, but make that play to get the elimination is going to be huge. But I need to see more coming out from Rise, because if you look at the bottom right now, I see he's doing a good job of supporting his teammates, but that's a player throughout the course of the season. He's been making big play after big play to not only change the tides, but shift the momentum over on towards Rise. And so far, I haven't seen that big play come down from anybody on Rise, let alone Icy.
Franchise up top now, trying to power up onto Lava, throw the flashes out, rolled back as well. Lasers will go back across, and both players just kind of posturing for position, trying to find a spot to put any shots out to push them back against the tide. And once again, we settle into who will make the first move, who makes that, that first mistake. Zysho over the top of the retro. Not many places he can go right now, except just make sure anybody trying to get into the B hill is basically going to be one shot or worse. He's actually going to sneak over here toward Rushiez. And they got to know that now that Zysho's here with the retro. They've got to get that call out. That's intel you cannot move without, and they need to be quick to the punch if they're going to try to get in that B hill at this point.
And this is where typically you like to see teams. They'll push one side of these hallways. Knowing Zysho is there with that red show, you know, if a push is going to come through, it has to be on the other side of the hallway. But well-placed fire from Rise, a flashbang. It does look like they're going to try and get this elimination. He's actually going to go for the straight kill, and he gets a big kill on Gearys. He knows that Death's going to be staggered. The big retro going down in Zysho, immediately running past. Triple cap domination here for just a moment. We're going to hear that Mr. Crab sound. Reptile knows he needs to go forward. He needs to get the hill, but lots of damage being put on him. He's going to have nowhere to go as Rise sneaks that one away, and that comes off the back of Rushiez.
Rushiez with a beautiful couple of shots on there, and Rise with another round onto their board, and back and forth we go. 2-2, all tied up at the end of the first half. We're going into the second half now. We're going to have Incendiary Boltok on the side of Rise. Over on the side of Noble, they're going to have Retro and Hammy, all secondary rifles. Big difference right here. A big difference in just the way that you're going to go about these fights now, because it seems like Noble's going to want Rise to try to push into him. They're going to want to be able to use those secondary rifles, even if they're not picking them up off the spawn. That that Hammer Burst will come into that secondary fight. So this could get very interesting very quick.
Yeah, it does, as long as they're able to dodge the kill potential and not let it really affect the ground, the area effect in terms of where you got to rotate. I think they do have the upper hand, especially when they eventually do go ahead and backtrack and get that Hammer Burst in hand. If a player like Lava can get it from the top side, it will put out a ton of damage for these players that are going to be down low. But we talked about this fight towards up top. Franchise taking that Boltok up top. I would love to see somebody down low go ahead and grab it, but I also understand why they didn't. They would have had to put themselves out of position to go ahead and do it. But down low, you see players trying to jockey for any bit of positioning, but nobody really wanting to take that play, take that opportunity, that chance, because if they go ahead and mess up, they realize how quick some of these rounds are to get taken over. They don't want to be the one to go ahead and let that one slip through.
Shots over the top by Zysho, taking a look across the map now. Nobody's still with a cap there on E Hill. He's just trying to get pressure. Basically, he's just going to check anybody that steps up, and that basically stops them from being able to push up into their next position toward that E hill, because once again, we are in the second half, but Exhibit, very unique map, and the idea that we don't see any hill changes. Play the same three the entirety of the map, and while Avexys will have the Lancer, it's not going to be nearly as damaging or as powerful as that Retro for people that try to push into their positions. Nobody has made a move yet. This might just come down to a one push and win scenario, PR.
This definitely is going to come down to the wire, but I do think the upper hand goes in the hands of Rise in that scenario. If it does come down to a 1 second push, they do have the instance. They do have that kill potential. So even though you talked about Avexys having that Lancer in towards the middle, he's also the player that has those instances for anybody trying to contest that neutral, for anybody that tries to make that play. And that's why both of these teams, man, this one is really going down to the wire. Nobody giving up any inches. And if I'm looking at a team to make a play, like I said, I'm looking at Rise right here. They're kind of funneling up on the side. It does look like they're going to try to make some sort of play to go through. Both Gary's and Sideshow beginning to start that push. Rushiez taking a ton of damage. He actually goes down early. I don't think that instant connected with anything as Avexys lets that one loose. He goes down to Lava from the top side of the map. Noble making the right play at the right time.
And you see Lava just holding off Franchise now. He has to keep him from getting into the home hill. Franchise goes for the wide bounce and maybe the up A, but not going to be able to get it to connect. Rushiez already back alive at D hill. They're going to go for the decap right here. That'll put a lot of pressure on them, but they're going to stay because Gearys gets the kill on Rushiez. Now it's up to Avexys to try to get into the hill, but not in time. Not enough. They take it 3-2.
I'm saying that instant kind of controls the fight if you're in the fight with it. But if you saw, they immediately ran past any opportunity of getting instant. They pushed on towards Rushiez with a well-placed flash, so Rushiez wasn't able to defensively put out any damage. And then from there, he, instead of pushing forward like Avexys did in that do or die situation where you got to kind of kamikaze for a kill, he tried to backtrack and he got down. I don't even know where Avexys instant went from the middle, from the side, but it definitely wasn't the impact we were expecting. And then Lava from the top got that down from Avexys. With 2 players dead, Noble was able to suffocate and surround the players, especially how late in the game that push came through.
Coming out of spawn now, round number 6 underway. As you can see, both teams rolling out pickups of the Retro and the Incendiaries for both squads as well. And Avexys will stay on top of this mid-shot cover. He's going to be looking around, trying to just angle out anybody that tries to hop and make the drop. Once again, Sideshow will be able to check him. This will come down to another one of those. Another one of those situations. Actually, I like this. Fran said, I'm just going to challenge. I'm not going to wait for 160 points. I'm going to give my team a chance to come back into this. I like how he continues to turn around, but Fran has the Retro. I'm surprised he didn't take it out in that short hallway. He could have been able to damage him enough to make him make a mistake or roll back, but what's going on, PR? What do you see?
I'm just wondering why Franchise has the Retro up top. In these stalemate situations, this is a good opportunity for Franchise to kind of roll back, but I see why he pushed all the way across. He got all that position in the world, and he needs to be able to utilize the Retro portion of it, even if it's 1 or 2 bursts. I know Taylor on a different episode of Pro League, maybe it was E-Days, he kind of used the word chunkable, saying it might not have been a word, but it's definition for it, especially in this meta. IC made a good video, just a couple of pistol bullets, just a couple of Lancer bullets. You push forward, you're able to make that one-shot chunk possible. And that's what I'm looking for from Franchise, whether you're using that Retro to try to go ahead and push up just enough damage to put the fear in Lava to where you can hold your shot and try to get the one-shot chunk. But now Franchise choosing to backtrack, giving up all the positioning he earned, and rightfully so. Somebody from Noble rotated up to try to take that 2v1 scenario. Rise noticing without skipping a beat, getting into that neutral to try to turn the tides.
Now Lava's trying to push across toward Fran. Fran is still not pulled out the Retro to put damage on the Lava. It has just looked so pretty and so enticing on his back, and he ends up going down. So the Retro picked up and then not used at all, but the Incendiary from Avexys, picture perfect as he throws it in, and now Avexys will be in a 1v1 against Lava. Looking up to the top of the stairs. E-Hill under control by Rise. Noble now has to make a retake scenario happen. Avexys is going to go for the pickup on the second Incendiary. Now it's Avexys taking cover in the mid wall. Looking around, just trying to focus up, find any damage and any outs he can.
Noble has to figure out a way here, Colin, to get Avexys to use those instants. I heard him got used down low. I don't know exactly whose they were, because if I look at the left side right now, Avexys does have those instants in hand still. You see the neutral getting decaps. So Rise, they're turtling back. They're putting all their eggs in this basket. I've seen them lose scenarios like this before, but big kill coming through as Lava gets caught in a 1v2 scenario. The cleanup coming through. Sideshow gets down. I'm not sure if anybody's going to be able to get a revive. Gears goes down as well, and I think with those eliminations, that's going to be the final nail in the coffin. And I kind of ask you, From watching historically a map like this on Exhibit, it's kind of fast-paced. You kind of see a ton of shotgun action going down, a ton of shotgun battles. What do you think is the reason teams, especially in this matchup, they're slowing down?
Well, real quick, I want to throw it out there. I know you said you've seen Rise crumble when they've tried to turtle up and they've used that defense to their best advantage. I think there's a big difference from where the Lancer, the speed, and the shotgun ability was when you saw a lot of those defensive crumbles to now, where everybody's slowed down. There's one less person on the map to worry about. 4v4, the speed of the game, the strength of the Lancer and the Nasher, and especially the Retro in that spawn is going to make a lot more of a difference. So I actually really like that move. They got to a point where they knew it was going to be all or nothing for Noble. They roll back and they just force out the players from Noble into those bad areas because they do a 3-2 split. 3 players can basically shoot any lane at the Exhibit, and then you see those 2 players up top can usually take a 2v1, or they can just shoot straight down onto those players trying to rotate out of those bottom halls. It's just a beautiful defensive stand, and it's a very good defensive stand, as a matter of fact, because it gets them to tie it up at 3 currently.
This is where I noticed yet again. You look on the side of Noble, both Reptile and Zysho, they pick up their weapons, they use immediately down low. The shock being used on the side of Franchise from up top. So I do actually like the effort. It seems like they tried to do something sneaky and it just simply did not work out. The Rise pulling out all their tricks here. Last Pro League match, I do believe, for them as they try to put everything on the line here for that mid split. Oh my God, what is up with this trickery right now?
A lot. Look, you got to pull out all the stops every now and again. You got to force people to play your game, and I like what Rise is doing. They're just putting a lot of pressure in multiple areas, and they're changing up what weapons Fran has, how he can take these looks, and that kind of gets teams guessing, especially going to the mid-split playoffs. It's a bag of tricks, and I like it. The deeper it goes, the harder it is to guess what they're going to be up to. Lava will go down to Avexys. He'll get revived as well almost immediately, and that's going to open things up for them to pinch down bottom, and now Rise will push out against the tide. As you see, Geary's trying to run away, but they're going to continue to get caught left, right, and center. 3 out of the 4 members down. Reptile last alive, trying to make something happen, but he's going to go down as well. All 4 dead for Noble. And Rise, they're looking to find themselves a perfect, picture-perfect round and go up 4-3. They're going to get another set of slays here. There's no way you're going to win. Yeah, no, not happening.
The overall gameplay of Exhibit right now is kind of slowing down, or at least from what I'm used to seeing from our more aggressive teams here in our Pro League. But I think that's kind of suiting a team like Rise right now, being able to slow down, being able to really think about their plays and think about what they want to do here in these situations. And that's where I kind of want to see if there's any tricks up Noble's sleeves here. We've seen what they're able to do when they match up against teams like High, when they match up against teams like Vanquish. They do find a way to play aggressive, but that's because those teams, they also play aggressive right back, giving up those fights, allowing for those holes to get found by these players to slip through. As you see the lock coming through on both instants, I'm interested to see if Noble is going to flip the switch, try to play aggressive, or are they going to continue to fall into Rise's hands here?
I think Rise is going to use that shock to stave off the initial wave of people getting to that B hill. They've already got oh my goodness, Reptile's already down, Zysho's already down, and now Rushiez will drop that flash and be able to push back up onto that cubby corner. Here comes the flash against him. The shock is going to cut them off from their teammates. That's going to have them basically stuck between a rock and a hard place. Zysho and Geary stuck in the blue hallway. Going to have to rotate back. Avexys just playing the damage game. Icy will finally get a kill, but look at the way they have just set up and are able to angle out these players from Noble. They have put themselves in a position to come away with this round win, even though you see up top, Lava still just playing back, trying to play defense at his own home hill. They have to find Icy. They have to get a pushback here. They have to pull somebody out of position, and Reptile, he's going to be on that cubby corner, but if he pushes up at Avexys, that could put him in a bad spot as he's already been shot over the cover once, and I believe they had the angle to Lancer him out, but they pushed him back as well. That's an opening salvo kill. Now it's a 4v3 on the map. They're going to be able to take a 2v1 somewhere else and continue to push back against Rise. They just have to be careful not to get stuck. As you see him bouncing around, Franchise dies as well. That's 2 players dead. This is going to open things wide up for Noble to try to take back control of this round.
You can kind of see Rushiez Getting spotted out from Lava early on, rotating towards the top side. That allowed those players down low to continue playing how exactly they wanted. But big down coming through. Rushiez going to find the mismatch on Lava, trying to escape. He's going to press forward. There's nobody that's going to spawn up to try to stop him, so only contested is going to be towards the right side. Avexys and Rushiez doing this one together, but Rushiez bites off more than he could chew. Gets retro down by Sideshow. The hill's going to be decapped, so Rise is going to be able to maintain the lead with this 1-for-1 hill action. There goes the cleanup on that player running out of spawn. Lava's going to get found out too. Rise needs to figure out a way to continue staggering these deaths. That is going to be good. Lava goes down as well. As soon as Reptile spawns up, they're going to continue this train. Stagger the next player's deaths. Don't allow these players to spawn, but if you take too long, you have to know. You have to have that switch in your head ready to flip to give it up at a moment's notice. Icy gotta know to go ahead and escape, but they're actually gonna have to leave Icy there by himself. I would have loved to see him try to escape and stay with the rest of Rise, but now this is gonna be a 4v3 power play for Noble.
Noble has to be very quick about this as well because Rise is approaching that 200-point threshold. Here comes the flash. Here comes the dash. Avexys pushing back with Franchis, and they're rotating all the way back. And there's a Lancer out from underneath the blue hallway. That's going to be Geary's just holding this right hand. They need decaps, but Noble's nowhere in the area. They're going to continue to try to pressure. They're going to continue to try to get these kills to try to get that break, but 3v3 on the map. Only hill they got to get to is blocked off now by a shock. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, they go from a 10-0 shutout thanks to the Pittsburgh Knights to a 5-3 victory over Noble in map number 1.
And not only were they able to take that victory against our #1 team in the game right now, Colin, but they did it in a fashion on a map like Exhibit, where they were able to completely slow down the game and control the tempo. If they're able to do that against our upper echelon teams on a map like this, they can definitely turn the tides of almost every fight. But that's going to be map #1 in the books for Rise. Don't go anywhere, because right after this, we got the continuation of the series.
In an absolute slugfest of a map #1, we saw both teams set up their pieces like a chessboard and then finally, shortly after one singular push, possibly go for the checkmate. It was a 5-3 victory for Rise. They get it in 8 rounds. They win their first map since yesterday because PK shut them out 2 maps to none, 10-0. And Rise is starting to cook, and Chef Fran might have a big white hat on right now, and he might be looking like Boyardee. Curious to see what they're going to do in map #2.
That was a very, very interesting map #1 on Exhibit. I was expecting a lot of shotgun fights. I was expecting a lot more aggression to come out from Noble, but honestly, almost got the complete opposite. Rise was able to play their game the entire way through, and I was kind of noticing the different strategies coming out from the initial, and not in terms of where they're sending their players, but I saw some initials where Avexys had the Ensign, where he had the retro, where he had the shock. Up top, I was talking about Franchise bringing the bold talk, the retro, and the shock, different rounds up top. So many tricks up Rise's sleeves, but right now, Noble looking like almost a shell of themselves in terms of aggression, Colin.
And I think one of the things that we got to take away from that is just both teams really playing that map very much slower than we've ever seen that map get played. Exhibit's normally a push fest. It's normally a flash and dash type of map, and we come out with maybe 1 or 2 big shotgun fights throughout the entire map, whereas everything else was, all right, I'm going to throw my flash now. Everybody try to slide onto that left side of the map, and once they over-rotate, we're going to catch one of them slipping. We're going to kill him. Now we got a 4v3. They got to roll back. We're going to get 2 hills, and we're going to make them make a mistake later on down the line. Very surprising to see that. I'll be curious to see if map #2 is any different. If it is not, and if it's still that slow, methodical pace, I mean, we talked about it in the pregame. Shock last night said that Noble has the most boring play style on the face of the planet. Rise has been known to be more of a setup team themselves. So maybe we just got a nice little pitcher's duel here. Maybe we should appreciate it for what it is. We're not going to have 8 home runs in a single game. We're going to have a nice 1-1 with a low ERA. Somebody's going to give up a hit in the 9th inning. Maybe that's what we're going to have on our hands, PR.
A walk-off base hit. The most
That's right.
anticlimactic thing that you can possibly think of here in this situation. Is the game over? Why is everybody leaving? But I'm honestly going to have to see Noble really step it up. You are the #1 team in the game right now. This isn't the time to lose to a team that's really fighting to really define themselves before the mid-split playoffs. And you already see it on this initial rise, wasting no time, overtaking the top side of the map. But Geary's finding that hole in the defense. He's able to get 2 to start off this one. And Noble, this is the aggression. This is the type of plays I was expecting to see.
A beautiful early couple of shots on in chunks. They've won a couple of 1v1s. Geary's already in the home hill of Rise. Nobody's really going to be able to have a chance. It's going to be up to Icy. Flash out. He's going to actually stun himself. Goes down, and here comes Fran. He'll get the kill, but not in the hill. That's a 38-second round, quick as a hiccup. Noble has to turn it on here because you're down 1 in maps, and I think one of the things you need to see Noble do if they want to have a chance in this series to be able to solidify and keep their destiny in their own hands is come out strong, win this sucker 5-1, 5-2. Do not let Rise get in or stay in this map whatsoever.
Oh, I like this. Please do this. Please do this right now. If they put that on the other side of the map, nobody ever does, but a weapon always ends up there. And I want to see them get that advantage, but honestly, Rise, they did a good job of taking control of that top side of the match, but Geary's finding the hole in the defense, catching Icy off guard. I honestly don't exactly know how they overlooked that play, especially since they were going on towards Noble's side of the map, but things are going to switch up again. You see a second strategy coming out from Rise. This time, they're going to try to contest that low side of the boat. Franchis, however, does fall. Icy falls as well. Avexys by his lonesome. He's going to meet the same fate, just like the round prior. Noble's gonna start out hot with 3 straight kills.
Rushiez gonna hang back, playing that beautiful diaper drone. That's what everybody calls him in the community. How you doing, kids? He's got that escape from Kadar's skin. Now it's gonna be up to Rise to try to roll back into the hill, but it's not gonna be in time. It's not gonna be enough. And back-to-back rounds, Noble is just, I mean, they have tried to go toe for toe, blow for blow with Rise, and they're coming out on top. This is no longer the jab fest that we saw on Exhibit, where we were going to go to the scorecards to determine the champion of the world. Nah, this sucker has broken out into a straight street fight, and it's almost like a hockey game is expected the next 20 minutes because they are just trading shots in the middle of the map.
And this is where it begins to make me wonder. We've seen what Rise is able to do to slow down Exhibit, and this is where I'm going to kind of ask you. We kind of guessed the Talon Pistol, yes, is going to be placed here. Is this map, or is there any possibility on this map to slow down like Exhibit, or do you think Noble is just not going to let that happen this time around?
Attack!
I don't think you're going to see as much aggression out of Rise. They're going to try to make Noble push into a bad fight because both times they've taken the fight, they've lost. And look at that. Rise laid somebody back. Player number 7, Avexys, was going to try to lancer out the players from Noble that pushed down that hallway. Avexys did get some shots on, and Noble had to kind of stand up and take notice. Franchis will get chunked from the up A. Geary's hits a back-to-back shot to get it down and another out. And that's beautifully done. Once again, Noble, they see the action by Rise. They see the play call, and they say, look, we're going to make you make a mistake. Avexys will get the shot punch out, get the down and the kill. Reptile's going to come up for some thrills. Franchis will finally get the step back into the ring. Him and Icy, even though they were the first 2 down, they're back out and at it again. They're going to get picked up as meat shields. That's not what you want to see. A wall of meat shields, and they're going to get double snub beat down if they even make it around the corner. That was the wrong alleyway to find yourself in late at night because they were going to give you a pistol whip and a half, boy.
I want to say it's 3 rounds with a possibility of being less than 2.5 minutes, something of the sort. But I heard you say, Shock said Noble gameplay is boring. I don't doubt you, especially since you play so much against them. But Noble right now with this 3-0 series is looking at the crowd, is looking at everybody watching them right now, looking at the chat and say, are you not entertained? They're making these fast plays. We're getting in your face. We are aggressive as can be, and they are getting these rounds in a convincing fashion. Rise honestly has to do something. They have to change up something here, and they have to start now.
Here we go. Geary's going to push up. He's flashed out. You see them both throwing out flashes, but the last flash comes from the side of Noble. The trade comes through, though. Trying to trade out. Avexys playing defensively. He rolls back, gets the double shot down on to Geary's, and that's going to be the first time they come away with a win at the winch. And Lava, I believe, is stuck here. I don't know if anybody's going to get a touch to extend the round. Lava can't really push up as there's multiple players at the B hill. Reptile will go down at his home to Icy. Now, Zysho tries to fly up, but he's going to get taken down. Finally around in favor of Rise. Not just yet. I talked. Oh, there we go. Never mind. I'm sorry. I talked too soon for talking too soon. My man, I should have just kept on going.
I definitely should have right there because That's what Rise needs to do. They need to be able to take this round right here, 51 seconds, and continue to keep on going. You can't let those early rounds, those early dominations get in your head. And I like what Rushiez was able to do right there towards the low side. He wasn't necessarily forced there to kind of push in and get that elimination. He played it slow. He played it steady. He's a player that unfairly put a lot of pressure on in a map like Harbor, to where you kind of have that staring contest down low, and there goes that big sniper on towards the top side of Stern. Rise saying, we want you guys to fight us up top. And that's something that I kind of ask you, is that a fight you want to see Rise take?
I think one of the things that people are going to have to learn is it's not whether or not I want to see him take it. They're going to have to take it, because you cannot let Zysho come away with that sniper. I'm telling you flat out, I'm telling you straight up, they're going to have to take it. They're going to have to flash out and try to get on there, but there's the shock out. It's going to stop anybody from getting into that early pick. You see them lancering out. Reptile with a beautiful angle right there, just creeping up those steps, keeping damage on multiple players from Rise. You see the downs finally coming through, the Dez coming through as well, and Reptile, go pick. All right, Reptile, go on ahead. Put on a show for us. I'm not mad at you for picking it up. I just want to see you do something with it. I like what Noble did as well. They said, you want to put a big power weapon up top where there's a hill? That's fine. We know you're going to leave Rushiez in a 1v, and we're going to send 5 players up there. Stop.
But this is where the numbers right now, Rise making the perfect play. They know there's 2 players down low. They have to go now, though. If they get sniped with a snipe body shot, that's not too bad. You got to be able to bait and switch. Let Icy go in first if you're Avexys. But there goes the damage being traded off. Big down on Lava. Reptile towards the bottom half of the map. He's actually getting flanked. If that sniper goes out, that's going to be lights out for Noble, as Reptile does get taken out. There's already 2 hills in the side of Rise, but with one way or another, Geary's is either going to make a big play in terms of eliminations or try to extend the numbers. 1v1 scenario against Rushiez. Lands a big shot. Unable to get the elimination, but a big down coming through from Zysho. He's going to put himself in another 1v2 scenario. He's getting lancered out. I don't agree with that play, but Rise is going to be able to take that one. 2 more players trying to push up and try to save the round for Noble. Reptile goes down. Lava all by his lonesome. If he falls, this could easily be a triple cap domination, but he's doing a good job of prolonging the round for now.
See Avexys getting into that E-Hill, going for the triple cap domination. They're going to be able to get it. That's 3-2, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful job there on the retake by Rise, and they are 1 round away from tying this bad boy up. 3 straight rounds for a Noble. Impressive, but I mean, we could very well see 3 straight rounds for Rise as well. And as you take a look over the scoreboard, we're not going to see much activity, I believe, in the weapon placements right now. You're going to probably see, so there we go. I wanted to take a check. Lava's 1-8-1, so he's not dying. He's helping his teammates out quite a lot. The thing that kind of stands out to me and very misleading, and I want to go ahead and point this out, and I know Rushiez probably don't give a damn what people out there in make-believe land care. He's 1-1-4. Those 4 deaths, though, are mainly because his teammates are losing the top side of the map, and he's getting crossed out and angled out. So while Rushiez has more deaths than he does kills or assists, Rushiez isn't necessarily playing bad. He's playing his position. He's playing his spot. He's allowing his teammates to take the fights that they want and need. And when his teammates lose, it's hard for you to come away with any less deaths than what he's got, because you're getting angled out from multiple places.
I like the Lancer. Nobody getting ahead of himself, trying to go in for the 1-shot chunk. Both Zysho and Lava realizing their positioning. Zysho held his Lancer out, and then you kind of saw Lava switch to a shotgun. He didn't go in for the 1-shot chunk. He played it safe, played it steady. Nobody is just biting off more than can chew on the side of Noble. I love this 2-player wolf pack they have going on around the map. Triple cap domination sounding off for a moment, and here it goes to come through. Icy gonna be the last hope for Rise. He gets in the hill. He quickly goes down. Avexys gonna meet the same fate in 4 rounds to 2. Noble is leading this one, and they are making it look easy.
Beautiful round number 6 out of Noble. And like you said, PR, one of the impressive things about that round was how Noble was so patient with their Lancers. They were so patient just getting the downs and damage, forcing the members of Rise to try to get the flash and dash and try to get a kill. Even after the revives, you saw them try to push up that stairwell by bouncing back and forth and eventually just going down to the double Lancer shots. And Noble, they can make it look so very easy when they get the angles on multiple players on your team, and it makes it even harder. It almost makes it too frustrating to deal with at times, but Rise, they're going to have to fight back against it. They're going to have to find a way to try to either extend the fight or change it up even. You're going to see that shock being very important in the early goings. Geary's goes down, but they get a quick revive off on him because all they used the shock for was to stop him from having the 90 degree from the winch.
To see the strategy getting go out for this one. Once again, you see Rushiez going down low by himself. Possibly going to use that shock grenade towards the top side, makes no free weapon is getting grabbed. First blood going over to Kiri's. I don't even see anybody from Nova being baited in by that shock grenade. Rushiez goes down. That's going to be 4 players dead off this initial for Rise. Nova looking for this triple cap domination to put that final nail in the coffin. They got Sniper towards the top side. Lancers, shotgun towards the low side. Oh my God, doesn't even get around the corner. Sideshow doing everything he can right now as Noble's going to tie this series up 1 apiece as they take the map 5-2.
Noble out here like, look, all right, we're sorry, casters. We weren't respecting your time. We lose map 1. Let's make map 2 really quick and get it to a map number 3. Gears is your MVP, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it, PR. That's scary for me for Rise going into that mid-split playoff. That was not... I don't want to say that wasn't difficult because, again, these are the best players in the world, so there's got to be some level of difficulty. I bet if just 4 Joe Schmoes went up against Rise on Harbor, they're probably getting their brains blown out of the back of their head. But Noble did a fantastic job of pushing the winch fight, of really setting the pace. Like we talked about in map 1, Rise sets the pace where they force Noble to kind of play that very slow, defensive, methodical style that they've gotten really accustomed to, but Rise just a little bit better in the uptick on Exhibit. They go over to Harbor, and Noble says, all right, what gear were we in again? 4th? Let's drop this sucker into 5th and see how things go.
It goes off that initial. That was round number 1, that first replay where Franchis and Icy tried to overextend toward the top side, get caught out, and talk about setting the pace. That really did set the tone for the entire matchup. It almost looked like anything that was thrown at him from the side of Rise, whether it's 3 up top for the top side, fighting down low towards the wench, having Rushiez sneak on over. Noble was ready the entire way through. It almost makes me wonder if they didn't allow things to get slowed down on a map like Exhibit that is known for aggression. If they played their game and took the chances that they normally do, would this have been a 2-0 series?
It could have very well been a 2-0 series, but now they're going to have to settle things out. I like this. All Zysho's doing is he's holding a corner and just getting shots on as people get in there. And it's beautiful because you see him get a headshot first, a body shot second to help him get the down. There it is, 5-3, and I said I wanted to see a 5-1, 5-2. I needed to see a dominant victory out of Noble to see if they can come back into this. We go to Vascar now. This is going to be interesting because Vascar is not the same type of map that we're going to see on Exhibit. Yeah, Exhibit, it allows for some setups and it can be slowed down as we just saw. Vascar is much harder to slow things down on. Yeah, you can put a power weapon at tank. You can put a power weapon over there at the helicopter, and we know about the spawn advantages, whether it be a rivals or not. This is going to get interesting because Noble was able to speed it up in map 2. Do you see them keeping that same pace of play come map 3? Are they just going to try to push into the grill of Rise and say, sit down, big boys?
Yeah, no, I do think exactly that. They're going to tell them big boys to sit down, or they're going to put them in a high chair and sit them down. Noble, they've been able to pick it up. But my biggest thing right now on the side of Rise, because you know how Vascar plays, you said it, a lot of aggression, counterclockwise, clockwise rotations. They have this strategy. So they do have opportunities here to set up, to try to get those tricks under their sleeves. But when it comes down to it, there's going to come a point in time where you're offensively, defensively, that team fight will come down. You're going to have to execute on all sides. And so far, I haven't seen that coming through from Rise. If this is a fast-paced, shoddy style game that we on Vascar, honestly, I'm kind of scared for Rise, honestly. And those players on this team, they're very, very talented individuals. But when it comes down to the meta, the way Gears is played right now, having to go into those team fights, the quick aggression, those quick plays that have to come through, there's all season long. They just haven't been there making those plays, and they've been one step behind. And I know a lot of people have been looking at Rise. They took that 27 matchup against United, but you can go up and check the matchups. You could check the records of Rise. When it comes to the middle of the pack teams, yes, they have a fighting chance. They go ahead, they stand, even win some of these series. But when it comes to the upper echelon elite teams, they seemingly always fall short. And that's statistically speaking.
So one of the things that I'm going to point out, and I know it would be almost impossible to request something like this while we wait for map 3 to get it set up, something that worries me or something that I'd like to throw out there because of the fact that we see so many snipers at tank or we see snipers placed opposite side of the map. That last highlight we saw from Zysho where he was up top, he had the sniper and he was looking at a specific point. It wasn't like a general area. It wasn't like he was waiting. He basically set his cursor. He set his marker there and said, as soon as I hit L trigger, my sights are going to be right on that spot. There are 2 spots on Vascar as you go up the stairs into that first half home hill, or as you come around that corner from the first half home hill to try to get back into A if the sniper's at helicopter or tank. There's two spots that if you learn them and you can set up like Zysho just was, you can basically force your opponent to give the round up, because as you hit those corners, Zysho or whoever is going to be waiting in the wings with that kind of long shot play, get that body shot, get the headshot, whatever it might be, and make your life a living hell getting back into there. So if I'm Rise, I'm trying my hardest to prolong the power weapon placement as long as possible. I want to keep this simplified.
The way you broke that down almost brings chills to my spine right now. Thinking of Gears of War Ultimate Edition, Hudson's one of the most feared snipers in that game. That's exactly kind of how he was doing those scenarios, lining up the shots, realizing, hey, there are certain covers in each one of these maps, each one of these games, to where the players have to up A it to get the most out of it. I know that speed boost isn't necessarily there, but that up A allows you to kind of reaction shot some shots, allows you to take covers differently going through.
PR, forgive me for...
You say it. You say it. They already hate me.
Losing streak over! Elevate goes down! Queso 2-0 over Elevate. Side station update. Team Queso finds their first win of the season. And I don't have words. I don't have explanations. I don't have ideas. I'm good for them. Do we have participation trophies, PR? Please, God, tell me we have a You Tried trophy.
I think there's skins out there somewhere that might say exactly that we can go ahead and give them. But you said it. You said it already with Rise. You know what's good about a losing streak. Eventually, those got to come to an end. Congratulations to Team Queso. I may not like cheese, but you guys did get your first victory to come through. And this is where Rise, the 2 hills under their control. They've already doubled up the score from Noble. This is where I told you the strategies could come through. The potential from Rise is there, but when it comes down to it, there's going to come a point in time where that aggression, that team fight is going to come down. I need to see them convincingly execute that time and time again.
I'm still like stunned, PR. Like I'm looking at this matchup in front of me, and there's no part of my brain that can think anything other than Cheese got to win. The Cheese finally got to win. How did the Cheese get a win? Anyway, I'm going to try to focus up. We're at 175 or so to the 90. It's going to be a hard set of sledding for the side of Noble. Flashes out. Good down there on Avexys. They're trying to get this kill. Shot over the cover. Lava doesn't get either player in front of him. That's going to shut down the retake and actually give Noble a 2 versus 1 advantage over there. You see Zysho just trying to live here at the spawn of Rise. He's not going to get it. Geary's is going to even things up here. Avexys now in a 1v1 against Geary's, but Geary's is going to get lanced from the 90 degree. He's going to go down and get taken out. This should very well be a Rise round for all intents and purposes, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is where Rise can get scary, when they can spread you out, when they can play kind of man up and have a zone defender who can kind of rotate back and forth, put shots on from 90 degrees, X you out, try to get those extra Lancer fires into those shotgun fights. This is what is going to make Rise scary in any tournament situation. The answer for that is to put down a power weapon. But right now, this is what you have to deal with if you're Noble. You have to win with the neutral setup. You have to win with those default weapon sets. And we're bringing it back, ladies and gentlemen. Unsure why. We're going to wait for the voice of God to give me a little intel. PR, that's a beautiful hoodie, by the way. I'm sorry. I've been admiring. I love that color blue, and I've been admiring it all day.
It definitely is. It caught my eye at first. I used to not feel or like tie-dye too much, or at least the way it went out. But, you know, Xset, me and building an organization, we had to put it out there to let you guys know that we have everything you guys need. We got cereal bowls, we got everything but strategies for Rise. We don't got any of those there at the shop. I got no discount codes free. But honestly, what I've seen from Vasgar so far is kind of like what I told you going into that series is they have the strategies to come through. Even though Vascar is a map that's kind of known for aggression, especially counterclockwise, clockwise, you always see one team being aggressive and don't really have a chance to set up. A team like Rise, you're able to kind of have those tricks up your sleeve, make those rotations, send a 2-2 and kind of trick and run through the center of the map. It's my biggest issue is when it comes down to executed, when it comes down to those situations to follow the meta and be aggressive and continue that aggression, they don't do that. They like to set up, in my opinion, just a little too much. And Gears of War right now, the way the meta is, it favors aggression. It favors teams like Hive. It favors teams like Vanquish and PK who like to go in, get those eliminations, and continuously stagger the deaths of their enemies.
And right now, like you said, this is going to be one of those situations where Noble has to find the answer for Rise's kind of sit back, relax, and get that set up and really stagger your deaths out and force you to just keep coming back off a respawn. The only real answer for that we've known is being able to put down a power weapon, make it about a big team fight early in these situations. One of the other things from that first round that really stood out to me is as you saw, I'm trying to make sure I have the right character. I believe it was Zysho. He played the Collector Mira, which is that beautiful 40,000 coin skin in the store. He's playing Collector's Mira. He's inside of the spawn of Rise, and you see Rise just kind of hanging out around him. Nobody's testing him. They're just hanging out around him. And then as soon as they got the kill at B and they knew that there was nobody for him to shoot anywhere, nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, both of them just collapsed on him. One from the vending machine, one from the top stairs, just continuing to angle down on him. There was nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. And that's like a game of mousetrap. Like Zysho at some point maybe has to just say, all right, look, I got to just press somebody. I got to make somebody make a move. I got to go out there and get into the paint and try to bang with the best of them in the bottom blocks for those rebounds. And he didn't do that. He waited. And sometimes patience is a virtue. Other times patience is going to get you burned up when the house is on fire. You know what I'm saying, baby?
It definitely is. In this game, timing is of the essence in certain scenarios. And yes, you sometimes have to buy your team some time and you're not doing much. You have to buy some time to get in positioning or rotate around the map. But in those situations where you have the advantage, where you have the upper hand in terms of positioning, maybe you have the high ground, maybe you have a few seconds of 4v2, you have to press that tempo, because if you allowed a team to kind of set up, get back into position, then what did you use your utility for? What did you risk your life for? What are you even playing for at that point?
Playing for round wins? You just playing, dog. You got the control in your hand. You try it.
You're just shooting. So many games. I feel like half the people in every ranked game everywhere, half of the people are just playing to play. They're just shooting their gun at that point.
Sometimes that's what you got to do. All right. Look, Queso got to win in the last day of Pro League. You can do it too, baby. You can do
Elevate with just shooting their gun.
Dreams do come true. Queso does win rounds. Rushiez has about 40,000 bullets to throw at both players from Noble and ends up not coming away with a kill because the revive comes out quick enough. And now you see the back A's being just oh so strong from Noble. They set up, get 3 kills, and they won the 1v1 on the opposite side of the map. It's going to be up to Zysho to try to get to that C hill. Fran's going to be there first. Fran, meanwhile, will have some protection from the spawn. This is going to be interesting for me because Fran's going to pressure Zysho. He's going to make him make a mistake here. And look at this. Noble wasn't quick enough into the C hill. They're going to get shot out from the spawn. They're going to get crossed out. They're going to be caught between a rock and a hard place very quickly.
That was a big elimination for Franchis. He was certainly dead to Rise player trying to go for the kill blow. He turns and burns. That's going to open up this opportunity, this play to come through, getting the down on Zysho. We need to be careful. Those early eliminations you got are going to be there to defend the hill. You got to be able to know your win condition, your situation. This is not a triple cap domination. This is another round of slaying, aggressive setup. Rushiez is able to get a big kill on Reptile. Avexys gets a huge down on one. Triple cap domination finally going through. Now the situation has changed. The switch has been flipped. Rise is going to get this one and go up 2-0 over Noble on our tiebreaker map. And honestly, they are taking Noble by storm. And they are the ones making the plays and being the aggressors, which I didn't expect.
I mean, they pushed back out, and that's like you said. I was very surprised. Noble tried very hard to get back into the fight very quickly, and they weren't able to get to C quick enough. They get caught between the respawns, and I think that just gets chalked up. That gets chalked up to just I don't want to say a lack of awareness, because you know you can check the respawns, because you know you can get all of the angles possible out, whereas they just continue to push and they put themselves in that situation. That's a blunder more on Noble than it is for a big props to Rise. Yeah, they got to win the fight, but I just think this is one of those situations where Noble could have easily stayed in control if they had just pulled up and pulled back.
Oh, I was about to say, I like this initiative to come through. First blood going over to Franchise, but it's actually going to be a trade. Reptile just getting fired upon by Avexys. That's going to be a second kill coming through. Like the meat shield grab, knowing win conditions. Certainly should try to stagger the depth of Zysho, but you have to get that opportunity to do so. Doing a good job of staying alive here. And that's going to allow his team just a few more seconds when they do eventually spawn back up to get right back onto the field to make this push towards the neutral. But they have to be careful the top half of the map to get the information for that counter push to come through. Avexys, he's going to go for a big play, get shut down early. The hill is going to be wide open, but not without sacrifice. You see Rise and the rest of the team extending towards the top half of the map. And this is what we talk about on Vascar, that clockwise, that counterclockwise rotations that have to come through. And we talk about timing being of the essence. You can't let these advantages slip through.
Now you see them held up here, right outside the home hill of Noble. Reptile's just waiting for Zysho to go down. Go for the quick pick up. There's the re-flash. They're going to try to get the stuns out. Up on the 90 degree is Reptile. Reptile has to roll back. Franchise is actually going to roll just onto the edge, and he doesn't go down the ledge. He's actually going to get stuck right there on the corner, and he's going to get down, and they're going to leave him to bleed out. See them continuing to push around, but Lava's going to get bullied out by two of them. Rushiez going to pick him up with a speed shield. That keeps him in the fight. And the wrap shot comes out from Avexys. That's going to keep the B-Hill in their control and their favor. Rise, they're looking to take a 3-0 commanding lead here at map number 3. If I'm Noble, I'm putting down that power weapon right now. Stop waiting for the bus to arrive. Stop waiting for the plane to take off.
I was about to say, I know you've been screaming for it, and I know you've been calling for it. You might have to give the Gears of War call of the signal to try and throw that big power weapon down. Rise knows they have the upper hand. They have a 3-0 lead. They're going to put that retro towards the top half, and that's going to give them that advantage. We're finally seeing that power weapon down towards the middle, but I got to ask you, Colin, is the sniper a big enough power weapon to change the tides?
It has to be, because Rise looks at Icy and Franchise as two players that can change the genetic makeup of a map with a sniper down. Noble, they're no slouches. We saw my boy Reptile pick it up. They got Zysho on the squad. It has to be a fight early in this one, and it has to be a team trying to get that quick. There's the flashes out. Franchise is going to back up now. You see Geary's trying to get shots off in the back of the tank. Icy goes for the flank and he's not going to be able to get it. That's going to give up the angle, though, to Fran, and Fran's going to be able to walk it to him and try to get an extra kill, but back and forth we go. Nobody really coming out with a dominant early positioning except the Avexys, who's going to get the double bounce. And the double shot down and puts on skates. Geary's, my God, you'd have thought he was at Rockefeller Center. It was the middle of December because, my Lord, everybody's ice skating out here.
There it goes. He's going to go ahead and back up Franchise again. 3 in the books for Avexys, even though he doesn't get the elimination credit for that last one. You see the rotation coming through. They get the information. They get the call from the IGL Franchise himself about the overextension coming through from Noble. Rushiez trying to slip past. He's able to get a trade and a kill on one, which is perfect because as soon as he spawns up, he's going to be there much quicker and faster to defend that hill if that push is going to continue on the side of Noble. But Reptile spawning up, realizing, hey, we need to be able to stretch these numbers out, try to find the hole in the defense. But it does look like Rise, like I said, Rush is going to be there first. They're going to have a 3v2 opportunity for just short moments. And to talk about time being of the essence, by the time Zysho gets there, he is put back on respawn.
This man Avexys is just right now going on a terror spree. He looking like Michael Myers in the first Halloween. He ain't dying to nothing and nobody. He's eating and scooting and shooting, my man. And there it is, the Kung Fu pose. That brand new emote. My man looking like Bruce Lee gave it a couple of nostril flips and said, what the?
Y'all better be ready for Avexys' new YouTube video. How to show up on map number 3 and dominate the #1 team in the game. I better see about like 1,000 likes on that one, 5,000 views. He's going to give you the tutorial how to turn and burn and take a 1v2, just like we saw in that round as Rise go ahead and goes up 4-0. You see the Ensigns coming into play. And now you see Ares and the rest of Nova hovering over that neutral. I was about to say, you can't go ahead and upgrade that. You got to start building some stuff on your side and take that fight yet again.
Here we go. Boltock's out. Both teams have a Boltock closer to the fight than the Retro Lancer. And
No instance.
4 members of Rise. Yeah, no instance yet. 3 members, 4 members of Rise in the area. Actually, Rise is set on a flank. Look at the flank right now. Player number 2, that's going to be huge. Rushiez is going to be on the 6 o'clock of all these players. He helps get the down, and he's going to sneak the last one. Oh my God, that flank was huge.
That was a big play, and you saw it. Great flashes, and they were able to chain those flashes together so those players on the other side of that cover were unable to really answer back. Lava peeking out just a little too soon to get the cheeky free kill onto Franchis, but he's gonna poke out. He realized damage is important. Reinforcements are on the way, but he can't take too much. He actually doesn't have any help. They all spawned up. They try to get their home hill back. That's why Lava's going to choose to retreat. They realize they got to extend forward to continue to attack the home hill of Rise. That is going to be the 2 hills they're looking to control, especially since they get the down on Rushiez. Now Rise going to have to answer back, but they have to be careful at the same time, not to get caught off guard because they're going into enemy territory at this point.
In enemy territory indeed. 2-2 split on the map for some defensive stands here. 2 members holding off the D hill, 2 at the F hill. Lancers out onto Avexys. Headshot from Icy, and that's the kind of map defining plays I talked about earlier where I said, look, Fran or Icy with the snipe. Oh my God, what a trap.
He doesn't want it. 3 players dead on the side of Noble. Chances, that window of opportunity slowly coming to a close. Triple cap domination sounding off for a moment. Lava has to be a hero, a multi-time champion, has to do it once more here. He gets taken out. Zysho gets the down on Avexys. This round looking like it's going to continue. Big double kill coming through from Zysho, but 25-point deficit to overcome here. Rushiez playing sneaky. It looks like he's going to try to sneak past enemy lines. Somebody catches him slipping, and Reptile's going to get that elimination. One last second push coming out from Noble. Can they do it? Can they win this round?
They're gonna have to hold on for what, a full minute here, unless they get a break at E, and Rise is not gonna let them sit back and relax. Rise is actually pushed up here with 2 players, and they're drifting a third to E. They're basically gonna play turtle shell, because what I think they're going to do is they're going to go for a quick decap, because a decap can pretty much put them out of reach for Noble, and all they have to do is just get into the hill. There's a long range flash. Avexys will be full red. Quick pick from Icy, and here comes Fran. Here's the 3 players. 3v3 mounted up. As soon as they get the decap, they're going to back off, but they don't get the decap PR. They didn't get it. Nobody stayed in the hill long enough. That's a blunder, because Rushiez now, all he's going to have to do is try to take this 1v1 at F. You see them pushing up with a snub, but meanwhile, Noble has gotten to the E hill. There's the decap on the E. That's massive, because that's going to keep Noble in the point lead. And if they get the retake, that's even bigger. That's going to make it that much harder. They get it down to 5 seconds. Nobody's going to be able to get to that E hill quick enough, I don't believe. No matter what happens at this point in the round, we are going to see at least a round number 6, 4-1. Rise still leads this thing, but Noble looking to make a 5-round comeback, and you got to start somewhere.
That was just a blunder on the side of Rise trying to retake the hill. It looked like all 3 players were trying to take the same exact cover. And I do believe there was a player kind of in the middle, I think maybe towards F, that was just kind of lancering them on the side. So they're unable to kind of prolong that fight. They had to try to push in, but they didn't get the train revives. They got eliminated in the end, but Rise with a 4-1 lead, you kind of shake that one off. You kind of act like it never happened. You see the weapon arsenal on one side, Retro and Incense versus Retro and Hammerburst. As long as Noble's able to dodge that Incense off the initial, I do think they're going to be in a great positioning, especially with how wide this map gets.
Now we come to round number 6. Rise is looking to take control over the top side of that tank. Noble has sent 4 players into the area. Rushiez will have a lot of shots on the Reptile, the Incendiary out, but Gary's has gotten all the way across the map now. A lot of damage out. He's going to continue to put pressure. They've left that player of Rise alive. They haven't been able to get any of these kills to convert, but here come finally the reinforcements from Noble, trying to finish off 1 or 2 more kills. Icy living with 1 or 2 bullets left to go before he's down. Rushiez will finally get picked off. Icy in a 2v1, but the Mr. Krabs play is out, ladies and gentlemen. Rise looking to try to end this thing right now. The decap comes through in favor of Noble, though, at the D-Hill. Domination counting on through once again. Lava will go down. He won't get the decap. It's all over. Call it quits. Rise wins it in map number 3. 5-1. It is just as impressive as Noble was in map number 2. Rise comes out with an amazing answer for that test and wins it 2-1 over the side of Noble.
They did a good job in this map almost the entire way through of controlling the rotations, controlling all the movement, getting all of the information as possible. There was almost very few moments where Noble had the upper hand convincingly over Rise. They suffocated players out. They picked it up in terms of slaying when they had to. They were almost the complete package on map number 3, and that's the exact Rise team I'm excited to see going into that mid-split playoffs, being able to pick it up towards the very end, making things look competitive, and taking out our number 1 team in the game.
I mean, beautifully done by Rise, and that was a very different squad. I mean, they showed both sides of their playbook where they slowed Exhibit down to a crawl. And then here on Vascar, they just kept taking every fight. They said, look, we're going to try to win this by keeping players in there in the area together, trying to get double shots down with the shotgun. And Noble really didn't have an answer for it. You see right there Avexys, I mean, putting people on skates. This was Avexys' map. He popped off, and that just makes Rise so hard to beat when you're able to come away with that.
This is that round where there was just well-placed flash grenades on the other side. Avexys kind of led that charge, but as soon as he took a lot of damage, Franchis was there. And this is that play that I talked about. They were kind of all taking that same cover. They almost did not stand a chance there on that round, but luckily for them, like I said, they kind of shook it off. They realized they were calm, cool, collected. We have this one in the bag. We just need to continue to play into our strength.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The maps on the top of your screen. Exhibit, Harbor, Vascar. We go all 3 once again, though. Rise has to come out on top in map 3. They get it with a 5-3, 5-1 map count for themselves. Noble, the only map they won there was Harbor, and that was due to that Wedge fight. Just absolutely dominant performance in the middle. Rise do come out on top. They're looking to give themselves some great momentum going into this weekend with a mid-split playoff. And PR, one of the most impressive things to me was how Rise was able to keep players alive. And I think that's also goes back something that I gave Noble props for. They let me down in this. So many times they had downs and they weren't finishing the bleed outs. They were leaving them down, trying to go and help their teammate. And a lot of the times, yeah, that's the right call. Try to get Lancer shots on. Don't be too greedy. And I think players have gotten kind of so used to, well, if we win this team fight and I'm leaving him down to bleed out, that'll cause a staggering of the respawns. Sometimes Rise was winning these fights because they weren't getting the quick kills off. They were letting somebody get revived, and now they got to deal with a double shot from a shotgun about 2 feet away from them, and that's never going to go in your favor. I look back at this map if I'm Noble, and I take that into the weekend saying, all right, look, it's time to start cleaning some of these things up. Don't let this happen to us again. You get somebody down. I mean, we saw Rushiez get down and got revived. Icy got down and got revived. Rushiez went down again and almost got revived. But you saw them turn around and get the down at the D hill, so it didn't even get the decap really to matter at all because all he did was crawl into it, then immediately had to die to the bleed out. So this is just those are the little things that can come back to bite you, and I hate players at this level having those kinds of issues.
Yep, and honestly, you got to give some key takeaways on the side of Rise. I think one of the biggest things in this match wasn't necessarily that 5-1 victory on Vascar. It was how they changed an entire map of Exhibit, slowing down the number 1 team in the game. It's just, to me, my biggest question mark is, can they continue to do that against the other elite teams in the game, Colin? And I got to kind of lead this one last question for you. Was this a big victory for Rise, or is this a really game-changing look at yourself for Noble?
I'm going to go bigger victory for I'm going bigger victory for Rise. I always am a much bigger believer in when you like getting hot at the right time is being better than being hot all the time.
I like that.
And Rise gets this win right here. It's the last day of Pro League. It's on the big stage for them. They're playing on stream. They've got observers that they have to worry about trying to see all their little secret angles and strats. And they don't even care. They say, look, we're going to play this as best as we can against the number 1 team in Pro League right now. They get a dub under their belt. It gives them momentum going into the weekend. And I much prefer would be on that side